Hello. Today I want to share with you an interesting but equally important topic. Have you ever felt confused by the unpredictable emotions or actions that women sometimes show? You may wonder, why is she like that? Or, what did I do wrong? If you have ever had these thoughts, you're not alone. In fact, women often have weaknesses that not everyone can easily recognize. But when you understand these things, you will have a completely new and deeper approach to relationships. In relationships with women, sometimes just a small gesture or an unintentional word can make her feel hurt. And that's why I want to share with you 10 weaknesses that most women have. Not because they are weak, but because these factors really affect their emotions and actions in love, work, or social relationships. With each of these weaknesses, I will help you better understand how to behave delicately and wisely. You will no longer be confused when faced with confusing situations, but will know how to support, encourage, and create a safe environment for her. The most important thing is, when you understand and know how to help, your relationship will become stronger and more sublime than ever. Surely you have witnessed, or at least felt that, when a woman seems silent or does not dare to open up, it may be because she is afraid of being rejected. This is a very common feeling and can leave many people feeling hurt. Women, no matter how strong or confident, are still very sensitive to rejection, especially when they devote their affection, time, and dedication to someone. Try thinking about a simple situation, like when she asks you, "Do you think I did well?" or "Are you okay?" This question is not simply a search for confirmation. Behind that is the fear of rejection, the fear that she is not good enough, not worthy of love or recognition. When women face rejection, it's not just their immediate emotions, but also their self-doubts that may have been building for a long time. As a man, when you recognize this fear, how you react will make a big difference. You don't need to do anything too complicated. Just take a moment to show patience and peace of mind. Instead of just giving a cursory answer, look her in the eyes and say with sincerity, "You did well, don't worry too much. The important thing is that you tried your best." Gentle, unhurried words of encouragement will help her feel safer and open up more. When you show understanding and support, you not only help her overcome her fear of rejection, but also strengthen her belief in herself and in your relationship. That is the key to deepening your emotional connection and creating a solid, loving relationship. Have you ever seen her start to think too much about some small matter? It could be a sentence you accidentally uttered or an action that you think is normal, but for her, it becomes a complicated problem in her mind. She begins to wonder, am I doing something wrong? Does he really like me? Am I good enough? This is one of the weaknesses that many women face, overthinking and self-doubt. Sometimes just an idle statement from you can make her think over and over again, analyzing every detail, word, or even your facial expression. She will probably wonder if she did something wrong, and if there is something in her that makes you unhappy. This happens because society sometimes makes women feel like they always have to be perfect, always have to please everyone. And when something doesn't go as expected, self-doubt arises. You can easily recognize these signs through questions like, "Are you angry with me?" or "Did you do that right?" When she says things like that, it's when she's immersed in restless thoughts, trying to find confirmation from you to relieve her worries. As a man, what can you do to help her get through these times? First, you don't have to have the perfect answer. In fact, Sometimes just listening and sharing a little understanding is enough. When she says, "Are you mad at me?" instead of replying with, "It's okay," you can respond with a comforting sentence, "No, I'm not angry. I'm just thinking about some other things. You didn't do anything wrong." It's that simple, but it's a way for her to know that her thoughts aren't necessary and that she doesn't always have to worry. At the same time, you can also help her gradually escape the endless thought loops. Tell her, don't worry too much about being perfect. The most important thing is that you're you, and I love you for that. When you show patience and calmness, you will help her feel secure and reduce the tension in her mind. It's important to remember, when she doubts herself, it's not her fault. It's just part of the emotional journey women face. And when you know how to help her overcome those doubts with understanding and patience, you not only help the relationship become more committed, but also create a safe space for her to be more confident in herself. Perhaps you have noticed that sometimes she looks very strongly for comfort and attention from you. At those times, she may feel like her whole world depends on your emotions, and your presence may be her only source of support. This may make you feel a bit heavy, but in fact, this is one of the very common weaknesses in women, depending on emotions in the relationship. When women love, they not only give you their hearts, but also a lot of emotions and trust. They not only want you to understand what they say, but also want you to feel what they cannot express in words. In those moments, she may need you as a fulcrum, so she feels safe and stable. But sometimes, this dependency can make you feel like you have to be her savior, who is always there to help her with every problem and every emotion. However, you also need to understand that this is not a bad thing. It is not a sign of weakness, but an expression of deep trust and connection. She is just looking for a place to stop, where her feelings are accepted and understood. However, if you tolerate all her emotions too much without keeping your own space, this can lead to an imbalance in the relationship. So, what should you do? First, be there when she needs you, but don't let yourself get caught up in a never-ending emotional vortex. Instead of being the problem solver, help her find ways to solve her problems on her own. For example, when she feels worried about something, instead of immediately trying to comfort her, you can say, "You can do this on your own. I believe you can do it. You're very strong." Such words will not only help her feel confident, but will also keep you from becoming overwhelmed with emotional responsibility. When you know how to maintain balance in your relationship, both you and she will feel free without constraints, and your relationship will become much stronger and more sustainable. Women need companionship, but also need encouragement to stand on their own. And when you do this, you not only help her grow, but you also help yourself become stronger in the relationship. Surely you have witnessed a situation where she reacted more strongly than you expected when receiving criticism. Maybe it was just a light remark, but she felt like she was deeply hurt. That feeling is not uncommon because women are often very sensitive to criticism, even with the smallest comments. And I think you've been in this situation where she seems unable to take criticism without feeling upset or even defensive. Why is that? Women often put a lot of emotion into what they do, and when they receive criticism, they not only feel like they've been wronged, but they also feel like they're being judged. This may stem from a deep-seated fear of not being good enough, of not being loved or recognized. And criticism, no matter how well-meaning you say it, can make them feel like they don't deserve it. So what can you do in this situation? Most importantly, you must remember that when she reacts strongly, it doesn't mean she doesn't accept you or doesn't want to change. Sometimes, she just needs a little sympathy, a little patience, to realize that your criticism isn't personal. Instead of offering criticism right away, try a gentler approach. For example, instead of saying, "This isn't right for you," you can say, "I think maybe doing it this way would be better. What do you think?" This will not only help her feel respected, but will also help your relationship become stronger. Because in every relationship, understanding and sympathy are always the most important factors. When you know how to give her feedback without hurting her feelings, you will build a safe space for both of you to grow. And remember, even if she doesn't immediately react the way you expected, your patience and love will help her gradually understand that criticism is not an evaluation of herself, but just a way to help both of you become better. As long as you always treat her with respect and understanding, your relationship will grow stronger and deeper. Maybe you have noticed that sometimes she is not only looking for attention from you, but also needs something deeper, which is security. She wants to feel that in this relationship, no matter what happens, you will always be the one standing by her side, the place where she can find protection and stability. This feeling of security is not simply about having a stable roof or enough money. For women, true security lies in feeling loved, respected, and never having to worry that the relationship could fall apart at any time. When you truly understand this need, you will see that this greatly affects the way she behaves. She may seek you out in difficult moments or when she feels uncertain about something. Sometimes, she doesn't just need your help solving a problem, she just needs you to be there, listen, and let her know that everything is going to be okay. And if you can do that, you will help her feel much more confident and secure. However, I also understand that there are times when you feel this may be unduly burdened on you. You feel that you must always be strong and not allowed to be weak. But actually, what she needs isn't that you have to be perfect or never fail. What she needs is steadfastness in your love. To know that no matter how many trials you go through, you will always be by her side no matter what. A simple example, if she's worried about the future, about work, or the little things in life, instead of just giving advice or solutions, just say, "I'm here. I'll always be with you. Everything will be okay." That is the security she seeks, the peace of mind that only you can provide. When you understand this need and meet it, you not only help her feel more stable, but you also create a relationship where you can rely on each other and overcome all difficulties together. And that is the foundation for your relationship to become stronger and stronger than ever. So we've gone through some of the weaknesses that many women may face in relationships. Maybe you have realized that these weaknesses are not major shortcomings, but simply very natural emotions and needs in every human being. The important thing is that when you understand them, you will not feel confused or awkward when faced with these situations. You see, women are not weak people. They are strong and energetic, but there are also times when they need to be loved, protected, and understood. Emotions like fear of rejection, anxiety about yourself, or desire for security are not something bad, but a natural part of life. When you know how to recognize and empathize with these emotions, you not only deepen your relationship, but also create a safe, loving environment for both of you to thrive. When you can help her through times of anxiety, times of self-doubt, or simply when she needs support during difficult moments, you not only help her feel more secure, but also build a strong and meaningful relationship. Every word of encouragement, every act of patience and sincerity from you contributes to building trust and connection between the two of you. And finally, what I want you to remember is, every relationship requires understanding and patience. When you recognize these weaknesses and face them gently and with empathy, you will help your love become stronger and more beautiful. Love is not a perfect journey, but when there is understanding and steadfastness from both sides, it will be a meaningful and happy journey.